once again, this is Teacher Joker from Wajukatur School. I am from the English program and also the homeroom teacher of grade 5/1. Okay, class, today is Wednesday and the date for today is the 21st of July 2021. And today our subject is English. We're going to talk about Rainforest tour and Outback tour in Australia. So it's just a continuation of our lesson last Monday. Okay, so let's proceed, class. So we have here our review of our vocabulary last time. We have tour, Sydney, Opera House, Harbour Bridge, Australian Reptile Park, and a lake. So again, this is what we call tour or field trip. So if you're going to explore another place, that is also considered a tour. Next is we have Sydney, wherein Sydney is the capital of Australia. So this is Sydney. We have also Opera House. So this is what we call Opera House, or it's a theater, wherein it's one of the famous opera house or theater in Australia. Okay. Next is we have Harbour Bridge, wherein we can find this one in Australia at the same time. So it's Harbour Bridge. Harbour Bridge. Next is we have here Australian Reptile Park, wherein we can see all kind of reptile animals in here. So it's like also a zoo, but it's a park. Okay, we can see crocodiles, snakes, turtles, and other reptile animals. So this is what we call Australian Reptile Park. Another is we have lake. So the famous lake to be found in Australia is the Pink Lake of Australia because of its color. You can see that one is color pink. So that makes it different from the other lake. Okay, so let's proceed. So let's proceed now to our next reading. So before we start, let's read first our vocabulary for today. So we have here discover, natural beauty, wildlife, giant trees, exotic plants, waterfall, koala, possums, Outback tour, famous Oloro, aborigines, kangaroos, and we have dingo. Okay, so these are our vocabulary for this day. Okay, now since we finished reading the vocabulary, we can now proceed to our reading. So our next reading is about Rainforest tour. So on this tour, we discover the natural beauty and wildlife of Australia. On this tour, we discover the natural beauty and wildlife of Australia. We see giant trees, exotic plants, rivers, and waterfalls. We see giant trees, exotic plants, rivers, and waterfalls. We also discover animals. Such as koalas and possums, which live in Australia. We also discover animals such as koalas and possums, which live in Australia. Okay, I'm going to read it again. The Rainforest tour. On this tour, we discover the natural beauty and wildlife of Australia. We see giant trees, exotic plants, rivers, and waterfalls. We also discover animals such as koalas and possums, which live in Australia. So this is about the Rainforest tour. So if you're going to have a tour in Australia, what are you going to see? You can see giant trees, exotic plants, rivers, and waterfalls. So Australia is very rich in the natural beauty and the wildlife. Wildlife means it talks about the animals. Okay, so let's proceed. Our next reading is about the Outback tour. Outback tour. So on this tour, we drive across the Australian outback. On this tour, we drive across the Australian outback. We visit the famous Uluru and learn about the Aborigines, the first people to live in Australia. Okay, again, I'm going to read it again. On this tour, we drive across the Australian outback. We visit the famous Uluru and learn about the Aborigines, the first people to live in Australia. Okay, class, when we say Aborigines, Aborigines is this one. Okay, look at this one. This word. Okay, do you know this word? Aborigines means the people live in that place, the first people to live in that place. Okay, so in every country, in every place, we have their own aborigines. They have their own aborigines, I should say. There are first people that were living in that place before. Okay, so where can we find the aborigines of Australia? It's in Uluru. Okay, so the aborigines or the first people to live in Australia is to be found in Uluru, Australia. Okay, are known as the famous Uluru. Okay, class, so that's about Outback tour. We see Australian animals such as kangaroos and dingoes. So aside from the famous Uluru, we can see also kangaroos and dingoes. So that's about the Outback tour. So that ends our reading about Rainforest tour and Outback tour. Okay, now before we end up, before I will be giving you your activity, let's have a summary first on our vocabulary again. Okay, so our first vocabulary is discover. Discover. So when you say discover, to look for something. To look for something or to find out. Okay, so if someone says you're going to discover, meaning you're going to look for something. Okay, or find out. Next one is we have here, what is this, class? Do you have any idea of what is this? Okay, so this is what we call natural beauty or the beauty of nature. Okay, so when we say natural, it came from the word nature, wherein this refers to forest, mountains, rainforest, and other more. Okay, so this is what we call natural beauty. Okay, so we have here waterfalls, rivers, rice terraces, and other more. Okay, next. Next is wildlife. Wildlife, from the word life, meaning lives of animals. Okay, so wildlife refers to the lives of animals in the forest, in the mountains, and in the rainforest, for example. Okay, so that is what we call wildlife. So it refers to animals. Next is giant trees. Okay, giant trees. When you say giant trees, from the word giant, that means big. Okay, giant means big. So big trees. Big trees. So that is what we call giant trees, or it means big trees. Next is we have exotic plant. Exotic plant. So when you say exotic, not common or very rare. Okay. So example of exotic plant or not common around us are pitcher plants. So pitcher plants can only be seen in the forest, Venus flytrap, this is not also common, so it is considered exotic plant, okay, because we cannot see this one around. We can only find these ones in the forest, mountains, or uh, rainforest. Okay, next is we have this one. It's not also common, therefore it's considered exotic plant. Again, exotic plant are those plants that are not common or very rare. Next is we have, what is this class? Oh, this is what we call waterfall. Waterfall. Do we have like this in Thailand? Okay, I think we have, but we don't have here in Chonburi. Okay, so this is what we call waterfall. Waterfall. It's beautiful, right? Okay, so let's proceed to our next slide. And another is we have koala. Okay, have you seen one like this? So this is what we call koala. Koala. Another is we have possums. Possums. This is also an animal. It's look like a small pig, but it's not a pig. Or it's a rat. No, it's not a rat. It's what we call possums. Okay, possums. They usually live in Australia. Okay, so again, this is what we call possums. Okay, another is Outback tour. Outback tour meaning far away from towns and cities. So Outback tour meaning going or exploring places which is away from the town or away from the cities. Like for example, desert. Okay, in Australia, if you say Outback tour, meaning you're going to the desert, going to the rainforest, which is far away from the city. Okay, so this is what we call Outback tour. Another is we have Uluru, the famous Uluru, which is found in Australia. So this is what we call Uluru. It's a kind of uh, it's a rock, actually. It's a rock. It's a big rock. Okay, so where can we find Uluru? Or where do we find this Uluru? It's in Australia. Okay, class? So this is what we call Uluru. Next one is we have aborigines. Aborigines. When we say aborigines, these are the first people that lives in one place. So in Australia, these are just few of their aborigines. These are the first people to live in Australia. Okay? So next is we have dingo. Dingo is like a dog, but it's not a dog, okay? It just look like a dog. And this dingo lives in Australia. Okay, so it's called dingo. It's not a dog, class. Okay, this is not a dog or a fox. It's called dingo. It's different from a dog. Next is we have kangaroo. Have you seen a kangaroo? Not yet? Okay, visit Australia then. So Australia is very famous for uh, the presence of kangaroo because they got a lot of kangaroos. Okay, so those are our vocabulary. So next will be, I will be presenting to you your activity. Okay, class? So let's have your activity now. And for your activity class, you're going to read about the Rainforest tour and Outback tour. And then you're going to read also the vocabulary words. So first, read first the vocabulary and then proceed in reading the Rainforest tour and Outback tour on your student's book. Okay, class? So I hope you understood the activity today. So if you have any more question about our lesson for today, please message in line again. Okay, So let's call it a day and see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.